right, so we're excited to have Kenny Jahng with us. Kenny is he is going to be the MC for the entire Digital Ministry Conference. So we're excited to have him there. He's also the first interview that we're doing with. So Kenny, thanks so much for joining us. Glad to have you here.
Always love hanging out with you, Chad. It's always a pleasure and honor, and I always learn something. So I'm really glad that we're getting to hang out today.
Well, that feeling is mutual, and both in terms of enjoying each other's company and in terms of learning something. So, Kenny, one of the things I've appreciated about you is I've seen you on stage several times, like the NRB, and especially as an MC. You
Right.
do a really, really good job of engaging with the audience. And I know you've done some thinking and some writing about the context of engagement. Could you just talk to us a little bit about that?
I think you're talking about my art of engagement framework.
Yeah, the art of engagement.
So one of the things that we did in our consulting work for over the last 7 years, we were trying to find some pattern recognition, and it basically boiled down and became this framework that I built called the art of engagement. And there, what we're finding is that in today's culture, you need to accomplish three things in order to have your audience, the right audience that you're targeting, to actually respond and engage with you. And the three things are in that art framework. So it's ART. You need to basically establish your authority. You need to do certain things with content to let people know and signal to them that you have a distinctive and very specific way to accomplish something that you're trying to solve. So that's the A, authority. The R is relevance. You're going to accomplish those things for what and for who. So basically, you need to really target your audience and know them, right? We always talk about in marketing and communications, know your audience. You need to really be empathetic, right? And so being able to frame it from their point of view is the art of relevance. And there's that acronym I always yell at my team. It's what's the WIFM? You haven't gotten the WIFM. The WIFM is the what's in it for me. And so you got to do that for the audience. What's the WIFM for the audience, right? And so you got to frame that for them well in order for them to respond. And the T is trust. Trust is this relationship building. It's just like you and me over the years. We've built trust together by having generous interactions and conversations. Sometimes I ask you for favors. Sometimes you ask me for favors. Sometimes we do collaborative things. We get to know each other, right? You have to nurture that relationship. It's not about me calling you up every day and just asking you to do something for me every time. So those three things, if you're able to establish your authority, demonstrate your relevance, and build your trust, then that's when you really can ask things of the audience and they will engage with you. So it's not rocket science. It's basic relationship building. But we can do that with content. We can do it with technology. We could do it with digital today. And it's efficient with digital ministry. And that's why I'm excited for this conference, because we're going to dive into so many of these things that affect that relationship, right, between the church or the ministry and the target audiences and communities.
Already signed up. Some of them are already doing ministry in the digital space, and others are coming there to learn more. How can they do ministry in the digital space better? And so what would you say to those folks that maybe are getting their feet wet or just starting to put their toe into not just looking at digital as a marketing mechanism, but really as a way to do ministry? What would your advice to them be?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's no longer how do you say it? No longer acceptable, or you're no longer able to treat digital as a checklist. It's not something that you put in a quarter and so let's just make sure that we send out a tweet or put a Facebook post up, etc. It can't be an external checklist to what you do in your workflows and everything that you do. Digital now needs to be part of the actual creation of what you do, your expression, your identity, but also what you do in terms of your actual ministry. So hopefully a lot of these talks, the roster is great in terms of the speakers. Hopefully we are going to be able to dive deep into some of these aspects of how do we take digital and infuse that into everything that we do on the ministry fronts.
I love that. It's not just a checklist. It's really about integrating, having digital at the table in those conversations from the get-go. It's not just oh yeah, we've got a Facebook page, now on to the next thing. And so one of the topics, we're actually going to have a ministry that pivoted within 6 days when the COVID came out. They pivoted and went from started a whole brand new outreach in the digital space. And so that's exactly the kind of things. And it wasn't just, oh, we need to do an outreach and then how do we manage our website to support that? It's, hey, we're actually doing ministry. We're actually doing outreach in digital.
Yeah,
well,
it's fantastic. Again, it is a significant shift. You can look at it as if it's a casual thing. So we don't want to, undersell what needs to happen, but it is a significant paradigm shift. However, the upside potential is huge. If you're able to take this paradigm shift and really incorporate it across everything that your teams do, then the upside really is much larger than what you have today. And I can say that blanket statement to almost any organization, no matter how big your operation is. And both of us have worked with national and international organizations. It doesn't matter how large your scale is. If you're able to infuse and really bring in the digital culture today, then that is just going to have a multiplier effect on all the impact that you're able to have.
I don't know if you've seen this, but it seems to me that a lot of times it starts with the mindset of those that are leading the organization. It really is a mindset, and in helping them understand what is the right mindset to have, and then how can you infuse that mindset throughout the rest of the organization. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but that's actually what I'll be sharing on at the conference is what's the five key principles of the right digital mindset that an organization should have.
It's incredible, right? Like the work that you guys do at 5Q is just the personalization, the putting the customer first. That is not able to be done in mass without technology. And so being able to take the tools that we've been given, God created us. We like to say on our team, the Holy Spirit works in pixels. And so we want to take that to our advantage. And what we say is, basically you want to affect this world in a way that they are living out today. And most of the world today is living a digital lifestyle. It's time for us and our ministries to join them so that we can actually, be a part of where they are. The church used to be in the center square of the city. And ministries itself need to insert ourselves back into city center so that we can actually have much greater impact, much more exposure, and make it much easier to access all that we've been able to build and deliver across all of our ministries.
I'm going to so two things you mentioned there. One is that the Holy Spirit works in pixels. I love that. I think we have at 5Q, we have a t-shirt list where like somebody quotes something in Slack, it goes on there. I'm going to make sure that gets on our t-shirt list. It's
a fun one, but
awesome.
it's actually one of those things that calls out the elephant in the room, because a lot of people, a lot of leaders still think digital is this other thing, or it's of the world, the marketplace world. It's not of the ministry world. And you know what? God created all things. Technology is here for us to use to our advantage.
Yeah. The other thing that you said is how the church used to be in the center, in the marketplace, in the center. You don't know this yet, but yesterday we decided to add another session to in our speaker lineup. I can't announce the speakers yet. I've got 2 of the 3 confirmed, but we're actually going to be doing a session on social justice and diversity in the digital age. And the timeliness couldn't be better. And the folks that we're going to be having super excited about it. And I'll be candid, it's an area that I'm still learning about, and how is, for myself as a believer, how a believer who lives in Iowa, rural Iowa, how can I be, number one, just be sensitive to those, but also be a part of the solution in the culture that we have.
Well, I'm in New Jersey, right outside of New York City, and it doesn't matter geography, size of your community, etc. I was talking with someone else, and the thing that I advise them is after, all the stuff that's going on in culture, you have to remember the solution is not an actual finite destination. This is a journey.
Yeah.
As long as we're growing and taking those steps forward together and really bringing each other along, that is the most important part. We cannot be static. We cannot just stay where we are. But
That's
the
right.
pressure has to be taken off in a little bit of a way that says, you know,
Mm,
you're not going to solve it. And the risks are high if you think
that's right.
of yourself that way, that you have to be right with everything that you do. But I think it's actually, if the other perspective of looking at it as a growth journey
Hmm.
is a little bit healthier and probably a little bit more fruitful in what we can
Yeah.
do in terms of our own learning, growth, and accountability with each other.
And that's what life is about, isn't it? It's
Yes.
about facing the challenges as they come to us each day and asking, okay, how can I grow? How can I use this to move me out of my comfort zone into a growth zone, not into a panic zone, but into a growth zone? And so that's what we're hoping this conference will accomplish. Will help ministries move out of their comfort zone into a growth zone and apply some great things from yourself and from the other speakers that we have coming to share with everybody. So
I'm excited. I'm excited about that, that opportunity to have that type of topic folded in to what you already have. Is we have a pretty much jam-packed agenda. It's something for everyone on the team. And I think that's the other thing about these online conferences. Offline conferences, there's ticket registrations and there's travel and hotel and meals and budget. And then you're taking people away from critical operations internally. Here we have the opportunity to minister to the entire team so that you can use it as a leadership development tool. I think this is one of those great things that this pandemic and online conferences is affording us. So if you're watching this right now, I think the biggest push I can say is don't just register alone. You need to be able to invite other people. And it doesn't mean just people in your team and organization, peer organizations. Spread the word and bring other people in, because the more conversation partners you have based on some of these leaders, these are really solid leaders that have been convened for this agenda. That's the way we're going to grow together. So that's it's a personal thing that I'm seeing, especially with, there's tons of events out there, but the agenda that you guys have put together, Chad, is pretty amazing for this event.
well, Kenny, thanks so much. We're thrilled to have you as a part of it. And again, June 17 and 18. So we're excited with the folks that we've got coming, both in terms of speakers and panelists and the attendees. Our attendee list is growing by the hour. So we're thrilled, and we'll look forward to finding out more.
Great. Well, I'm excited for it. And everybody, make sure you register, tell a friend, and we'll see you there.